Check this place out. Is this a Charles Birchfield landscape or what? This is a woodland, very close to my house. And I come here and I meditate, and I draw and I paint, and I think and I write. And I do stuff that many people today would consider to be eccentric. These people are right now in some pub in towns all over the country watching the first day of the English Premiership, wearing jerseys of soccer teams of cities they don't come from, getting all emotional about something that Rupert Murdoch was feeding to them on a giant screen. And yet they're normal. They'll get drunk and they'll spend the next 24 hours getting drunk. If that's what they want to do, then good luck to them. I have absolutely no problem with that. Everyone is born with free will. I think a lot of people, their value system is not really based on what they believe. I think most people, their value system is, it doesn't matter how educated or uneducated they are, I think their value systems are completely based on being programmed by the culture. And you know, what is culture? Culture is just, it's just really a system of sort of social mechanization to slot people into the system, to create conformity in order to make society work. You can see how culture can be a good thing you know, that system can be a good thing in somewhere like a hospital operating theatre where you have these doctors and nurses and they're going around and they're helping a person by removing a tumor or replacing a heart valve or whatever. And you see the beauty of that there, but that human interaction and how, you know, the technology and the skills and everything they have and the devotion many of these people have to saving lives, and they do it on a daily basis. They deliver babies on a daily basis, and yet they don't think twice about it. And that's a good thing. And then you can also have the other side of social conformity, where you could have the mob rules, or people being whipped up to send their children off to fight in a place like Afghanistan or Iraq for lies about weapons of mass destruction and freeing people, and you know, things like that. That's conformity that doesn't suit you as an individual. But if you think about conformity and how it relates to nature, nature and evolution doesn't like conformity. Nature and evolution has no time for conformity. If you look at evolution, be it biological evolution, be it social evolution, be it cultural evolution, it doesn't happen by everybody remaining the same and doing what they're supposed to do. Nature loves novelty. Novelty is caused when opposing forces they come into contact and you create a mutation. That mutation then becomes a new evolutionary trajectory to create a new line, and that's the fundamental underlying rule of the universe, is that nature loves novelty. And then coupled with that, it never seems to amaze me how so many people who are educated can be incredibly anti-individualistic and anti-novel thinking. You see that constantly. You spend all this time getting yourself a PhD so you can say the system is perfect, it doesn't need changing. And that's okay, but it's not going to create evolution. It's not going to create new methods of thinking. It's not going to create evolutionary trajectories. Evolution in the true sense of new pathways and new paradigms being created from... A hawk just flew by there. That's always a good sign when a hawk or a bird like that flies by, because then you know that's, you know, the Native Americans are right, that's a sign that you should pay attention to, and that's pretty cool. But anyway, nature loves novelty. Conformity is not novelty. Conformity is anti-evolution. And these people who you get on the internet, on places like YouTube, who wave their arms around, these skeptical types. Now, skepticism is good, but you've got these other kinds. Actually, the majority of skeptics, they're people who do not like any kind of alternative thinking. Yet, ironically, these same people will defend the concept of evolution without actually understanding that their absolute devotion to the status quo it's anti-evolutionary, because it doesn't generate new forms of thinking. I often think to myself that science today is actually further from the scientific process than it was at the time when you had scientists like Newton, who also, who delved into things like alchemy. The reason is that he was being driven by the search for the truth, and he was open-minded to things like alchemy, as well as to his own, the scientific process that was happening at that time. Whereas scientists today, a lot of them just out of sheer economic survivals, they're not going to do anything that will jeopardize their corporate or government grants. So therefore, it's going to create stagnation. And you can actually see that there are witch hunts within science. Any scientist who, well, not any scientist. I mean, most scientists I find are open-minded people, and they're not like Richard Dawkins, monkeys, who read the God delusion and think they know that everything there is to know about spirituality and how insane it is. Generally, these people who are the most fervent defenders of that process often have no scientific. They never have any scientific background themselves. They're just like they're just doing what I'm doing. They're bullshitting on the internet. Except that I don't think I'm completely right. I'm always looking, and I don't think that anyone has a point of view that's less valid than me. It's just that it's a different point of view, and they're entitled to it, because ultimately, I think everything is unknowable. It is. Everything is unknowable. When you really think about it, the universe is far more complex than any human mind can grasp. That's not to say we shouldn't keep looking, but there's an incredible arrogance when you hear a scientist talk about, I'm going to create the theory of everything. I mean, that's just hubris. It's just incredible hubris. The theory of everything. Some guy sitting in a lab on a minor planet orbiting a minor star on the outside of a minor galaxy is going to come up with the theory of everything. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just as ludicrous as some guy sitting in a Dodi in India claiming to be a guru or the reincarnation of some, 14th century bullshitter. We'll never know the answer to everything. We just won't. And that's okay. And that's a good thing, because I don't want to live in a world where everything is known and everything is knowable. I want to live in places like this.